The next two, I think, we're all too young for.
Queen and Rainbow, yeah.
Yeah. Queen and Rainbow.
Queen did play Syracuse, but from what I understand, they got banned from Syracuse for some reason.
Really?
Huh.
They only played once.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was my understanding. That for some reason, got banned from Syracuse.
Wasp, we covered that. Saw him at Nowhere. So is that the only time you saw him, Bobby?
Yes.
And you never saw him, right, Ed? Wasp?
Yeah, I played with him in Germany.
Oh.
Yeah, but
I knew that.
Let me insert.
They played
Of course
right.
you did.
Yeah, I think they played right after us, actually.
That's awesome.
But I remember being a little disappointed because they kind of just came on, did their songs, and left. Like, he just wore a hockey jersey, a Wasp hockey jersey on stage, and like there was no theatrics or anything, or no like real costumes. It just seemed very, we're here, we're gonna play our 30 minutes or whatever, 40 minutes, and then we're gone, type of thing. Yeah, I was a little disappointed by it because I was expecting Wasp,
Right, of course. Skid Row, yeah,
times with several different singers.
Yep. I saw them. I saw them with Johnny Salinger singing.
Me too.
That
was with Kiss.
And I saw
No, I saw them out. Where was it? It was somewhere like local-ish.
Okay, yeah, it was where Nowhere City used to be.
No. It was an outdoor. No, it was an outdoor stage, somewhere local-ish.
It was in Vernon.
Maybe I don't remember where it was, but I know that Randy Barrington was there, and he's like, "Yeah, come on." He was there taking pictures, and then he's like, "Yeah, come with me, come over here," and he takes me to this back room, and I was like, or not a back room, but like this building that I didn't think we were supposed to go in. I mean, I'm grown. We're not kids. We're this grown adult. Where it's probably like 20 years ago. You know what I mean? But still, whatever.
Oh, was it Pennville?
I think so.
Dirt and a bunch of dirt in Pennville.
Yes, and there was like a makeshift stage out there. So we go into this building, and he goes, "Yeah, come on in here." And always goes in there, and they're like in there hanging out, and I'm like, "Wait, what?" And he goes, "Hey man," he goes, "Can my buddy get a picture with you?" Snake. I'm just like, okay. So I got a picture with Rachel. I got a picture with Snake. I'm like,
awesome.
This is badass. I just ran into you. He's like, "Yeah, come with me." And all of a sudden, 5 minutes later, I'm getting pictures with these guys. I'm like, all right, cool. Nice.
That's killer.
And you saw them at that Kiss show with Johnny Salinger opening with Ted Nugent.
Yes.
They opened for.
Yep.
That's kind of sad that I've seen Sebastian Bach.
Yeah. You did?
Well, I've seen Sebastian Bach solo. But I never saw him with Skid Row.
Was it at Monterey's?
Yeah.
Monterey's.
Twice.
I saw him at Monterey's and saw him at Del Lago. He played at Del Lago a couple years ago.
Saw both.
I think I saw him at Turning Stone. No, maybe it was Del Lago. It might have been Del Lago. He did
he's actually coming to
album.
Turning Stone in July. I think it's July. Yeah.
We should go.
And I should.
Got a gig. I would, but I got a gig.
I also saw Skid Row with ZP Third, who used to sing for Dragon Force.
Bless you.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I saw Skid Row open for Bon Jovi at the Dome. We talked about that. And then I saw Skid Row. I don't know who they opened for. Were you there, Bobby? At Silver Stadium in Rochester. And Sebastian climbed all the way up to the top of the rafters of the stage and hung upside down while he was singing a song. Everybody was just like, holy shit. I can't remember. Huh?
I was not there.
Oh, nope. I can't remember who I was there with. I can't remember, but I remember it was Silver Stadium in Rochester. And he climbed all the way up there and hung upside down. I'm like, oh man, that's badass.
It's a good segue into the next band, Silver Stadium at Rochester.
We're gonna go with Metallica.
We mentioned our first time.
Our first time seeing them. Yep.
I saw them at Silver Stadium on a bill with Black Crowes, Aerosmith, and Warrant.
Wow.
Interesting
Yeah, that
group
is an
of bands together. Nice.
interesting collab there.
I don't think I saw Metallica all that much.
I saw them a bunch of times on And Justice for All. Queensryche opened once.
Wait. And Justice for All tour, we
Sport.
saw them. We saw them with Queensryche. I was there with Queensryche opened up. Yeah.
No,
Yeah, because
Queensryche did not open up at Weedsport. Queensryche opened up at the War Memorial.
who opened up at the? Oh, that's what I was talking about. Yeah, not at Weedsport. I was there because I remember the.
Twice. Once was the Cult, and once was Metal Church.
Okay. Because I remember the Injustice for All tour. They had the big Lady Liberty freaking statue on the stage, and during the whole show, pieces of it were falling off. Remember that?
Yep.
Were they supposed to be?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was badass. And at the end, wasn't it like it was all disheveled and her like crown was hanging off or whatever? It was badass.
When Queensryche was out there, they were Lars was sticking the arm out to hit Scott Rockenfield with it, like as a joke.
Pantera. I don't think I ever saw Pantera.
Several times.
Only once.
In one, though, that's all that matters.
Yeah, with Dime, yeah.
Nice. AC/DC, never saw him.
You're not going to believe this.
You never did? Really?
They're a bucket list band, and I'll never pay that much to see them. So,
oh God, yeah. I know this freaking $1 million. Pink Floyd, never have, never will, never wanted to.
I can answer the same to all those questions.
Sabbath?
I did go to one of their light shows, though, a Pink Floyd light show that they used to have.
Here's how many points you get for that. Hold on. Here's how many. Hold on. Incoming. Here's how many points you get for that. Black Sabbath. Do you ever see Black Sabbath?
I saw them at Ozfest once, and we left early. And I saw them with Dio on the Dehumanizer tour in Rochester. And I saw them with Dio as Heaven and Hell in Ottawa, in Binghamton, and at Radio City Music Hall, which is a show that they taped on DVD.
Damn, he's like a freaking deadhead over here. He's a Dio. He's a Dio hand.
Yeah, Bill Ali and I went to Ottawa, Ontario, and we went to Radio City to see them.
I never saw Pearl Jam. I know you did because you mentioned them earlier, right?
Yep, Lollapalooza. Yep, 1994, I think.
Overkill. I think I saw him play at the Lost Horizon
850 times. I think they're probably the fourth most band I've seen, or fifth. They're somewhere in the top 6. Put it that way.
I could say Thin Lizzy, never.
Mm-mm.
That's another one. I think we're too young, right?
Well, you know what? I know they did do like a little tour.
Without Phil, right?
Yeah. I don't remember when it was. I feel like they might have played either at the fair or Monterey's or something, but it was years ago.
Napalm Death, never. No, I don't believe.
I saw them open for Slayer at the Amp.
Yeah. Foreigner.
And I saw
I
saw Slayer, of course, at I'm forgetting Clash of the Titans again.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They kind of headlined the thing.
Foreigner. I saw them with a couple times with Kelly Hansen singing. I don't think I ever. Maybe I did back in the day. I honestly don't think I ever saw him with Lou Gramm.
I've never seen them, but I've seen Lou Gramm solo.
Really? That's a quarter of a point right there. ZZ Top
or John Waite in where was it? It was CMAC.
Lou Gramm opened for John Waite.
Yep.
Nice. ZZ Top. I don't think I ever saw him.
Saw him at the old fair grandstands, I think.
Nice. Ed, ZZ Top.
Nope, never got to see him.
Wow.
Venom. Never saw Venom.
Mm-mm.
All I know is I went to high school with this kid named Mitch who had Venom patches all over his jacket. Do you remember that, Bobby?
Or
How come I can't believe you didn't pop as soon as I said it. We're like, oh,
I was just looking at the list. That's why I didn't.
He
I
likes
was so
Satan.
delayed.
Let's stay away from him. He's a Satan guy.
Venom.
A Satan guy.
And they were guys. They totally used it as a gimmick.
I think I saw Fear Factory at the Lost Horizon, maybe. Did they ever play there? It sounds familiar to me.
Fear Factory for me would be 3 times. Once at Foundations Forum. Once at Bridge Street Music Hall, which was what Nowhere City turned into like 100 years
That's what
later.
it was. Yeah, that's what it was.
And once at Saratoga Winners.
Nice. Sepultura. Of course you did. Of course.
Not in their original form, but with their current form.
Was it like less of a snake and more of like an ostrich in their current form?
No, it didn't have Max in the band. So
Oh.
a lot of people consider it not real Sepultura without him, but Max was not in the band.
Motley Crue. I saw them probably a handful of times.
I think I've seen him twice.
I saw them every time I saw them, but I saw them also on Shout at the Devil at the Landmark.
Really? Nice.
Wow.
Oh, that's right. Didn't they like get banned from there or something like that?
They ruined the place. I don't know if
Yeah.
they definitely the fans destroyed the place.
You got me. I think you got me a shirt. I think you got me a shirt from it. One of those classic tour shirts, the jersey ones.
Speaking of a bootleg shirt, I saw a bootlegger get beat up by one of their roadies at that show.
Really?
That.
Damn.
Oh yeah, they chased him right down. Saw him selling shirts, chased him right down, beat him up in the street.
Nice.
I went to a show at the War Memorial one time. These two rival DJs, they got into a fight.
I've heard this story before.
But there wasn't a snowstorm that night. That was a totally different
snowstorm.
night.
No snowstorm.
But at that Motley Crue show at the Landmark Theater, Rat opened up, and they were on the Out of the Cellar tour. So
nice.
Wow,
that was a great double bill.
That's
great
awesome.
Yeah.
And you saw him the time, Ed?
I've seen him Motley Crue twice. I'm trying to think of where the first time I saw him was at the State Fair with, I think they had Godsmack open for him. There might have been another band before Godsmack played too.
Oh, you saw that? I didn't see that.
Yeah,
I think you saw it. Bill.
I saw
did.
them.
I remember like Vince Neil though, like he'd sing a note and he'd be like, "Yeah," and then he'd, like the mic would be going like over here,
and
you'd still hear his voice, and I'm like,
yeah.
And then I started paying attention to it, and then it just ruined it for me because then I'm seeing like them like 3 feet away from the microphones, and the backup vocals are still going, and I'm like, they're not even there yet. Like,
yeah,
it's like a little disappointing.
Now they change it. Now he just has the crowd sing everything.
Not the first man to do that, but well known for doing that when technology became available.
Yeah.
And Nikki so Nikki does not deny it.
So, when Mick Mars left the band, he started blowing everybody in. He's like, he doesn't even play any. I played the bass on that whole album, blah, blah, blah. He's like totally ripping everybody. I'm like, tell us how you really feel, man.
Every single one of those 80s glam bands has fake backing vocals used.
Except Striper. Just ask him; they'll tell you.
Hey,
I don't.
Did you see that video?
Fake backing vocals. I don't believe that they've never.
They had some guy call them out on it, and so they did a video of them like all doing their part harmonies, their multi-part
God.
harmonies, like one,
You
they're
harmony.
like ah,
Absolutely
and
do,
hold
but they absolutely do, and they sing live. But I do believe they've had help in the past.
I don't see why
Maybe
they
I'm
would.
wrong. I could be wrong.
We'll never know. You know what I mean? Like no one will ever know.
I saw Motley Crue
Sadly.
at Weedsport with John Corabi as the singer.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
And our friend got his ass beat at that show.
Yeah,
So,
Frank.
was it by your brother or your sister? Or your brother?
You know what? I was there. No.
Oh my God. You know what happened was, he was walking with his wife and they were walking, like, I don't know if it was after the concert or near they, whatever. And he tripped on one of those like big cords that are taped down or whatever. And he tripped and he fell forward and he fell onto her. And it looked like he tackled her. And the security came over and grabbed him and beat the shit out of him. They thought he was like beating her up.
Jeez.
Story.
I remember seeing him outside after. He's out of the parking lot. He's all bloody. I'm like, what the fuck happened to you?
He didn't want to go to the hospital, and I made him. I'm like, I'm going to take you to the hospital.
It's crazy. Crazy shit. I think, what was the security guy's name? Was Don, wasn't it? Was it Don?
Yeah, I think it was.
Don. Christy. It's a team. It was like
a team of them.
Security company.
And they're like, don't worry, we do this all the time at shows. And we
some guy came up to the company one time, tried to apply. He's like, well, what is your experience? Well, it's one time I tried to get a guitar pick and I punched this kid in the stomach. Hey, that was our brother. All right. Skinnerd. Never saw Skinnerd. Thank God. Ed, you look like you saw Skinnerd a lot. I'm just kidding. You don't. You don't, and you didn't.
They played around here enough where I feel like one of us at least should have, but
right.
You know, that's who I think I was thinking of when I was thinking Thin Lizzy. It might have been Skinnerd. Didn't Joe Altier have a story about the guy from Skinnerd?
I don't remember.
Oh, I don't know. Tell us.
Yeah, like he was playing.
Buddy, then don't say it.
Yeah, he was playing. Yeah, he put a post up about it. It was like he was playing somewhere and the guy walked in.
Wait, Artemis. Yes, he does. Yeah, we'll have to hear that story for sure.
Wow. Yeah, definitely.
Journey. I saw him with the current. I don't know if is he the current. Is he still the singer? The Filipino guy. Arnell. That's right. I saw him. I saw them at the fairgrounds maybe with him singing.
Never seen them.
Never saw him with Steve Perry though.
I've never seen them. I've never seen Steve Perry solo. Never seen.
Interesting.
Arnell solo. I've never seen Journey.
Heart. We talked about this on a previous episode. My very, very first rock concert ever. Heart and Cheap Trick at the War Memorial. Bob, and Bob's dad went to it. And I couldn't think of the song. They opened up where she was up on that balcony thing, and it was If Looks Could Kill. Remember that? And we're like, where is she? Everybody's like,
nowhere.
There.
And there she is. She's way up on the balcony.
It was badass.
A great show.
And by the way, Ed, remember I was trying to figure out I had the dates exactly right, the day, the month, and the date, but the year was off a little bit. It was 85, and right about now, you could put up the ticket stubs that I found 2 days ago. I found the ticket stub for that and the Dio Rough Cut show. I have them both right there. Boom.
Nice.
There they are.
Nice.
There they are right there. And
we
then
got Vivian Campbell with 3 different bands. You realize that, right?
I know. Exactly. And then, but wait, there's more. We also saw Heart in later days. Melissa, myself, and Bob went to Darien, or was it Saratoga?
Yes, it was Darien.
I gave him a multiple choice. He goes, yes. Okay, it was one of those.
No, because I was thinking you were going to mention the other show.
And it was, hold on. But this one here's a picture of the 3 of us at the show. Boom.
Holy crap, I don't even have that picture. That was an awesome
And
show.
I ironically enough, guess who opened up for him?
Tom
Cheap
Kimmel.
Trick. No, Cheap Trick. Tom Kimmel. Yeah, we saw them both with Cheap Trick. It was a full circle. What was the other show? What was the other one you're talking about? Refresh my
Joan Jett
memory.
opened too.
Huh?
Joan Jett was at that show
Joan
too.
Jett. You're right. Joan Jett,
Nice.
Cheap Trick, and
Icon.
Hart. Yeah. What was the other Hart story or the Hart show you were talking about?
There were no carpenters involved, but it was at Weedsport,
It was at Weedsport.
very front row. We got there. My dad got us there so early that we snuck up to the front, and we were in so much pain from holding our place.
Oh, yeah.
Felt like
Worst.
fall off.
Like when you're little, when you're younger, and you're like, I could do this. Let's go. And you did a lot of shit like that. You know what I mean? But we were like, back then, we're just like, oh my God, this sucks. Nowadays, fuck that. No
Oh,
way.
yeah.
No way.
I'll stand in the back.
We'll go to concerts now. It just happened like last year. And Melissa and her friend are like, come on, let's go up. I'm like, I'm good right back here. I'm good.
Mhm.
We got pit. I'm staying back here. You guys have fun. You'll be
I still
regretting it
remember-
tomorrow. But you have fun with that.
And the Tom Kimmel joke was he was the guy that opened at Weedsport, and we thought Cheap Trick or somebody cool, quote unquote cool, was going to open up for them because Cheap Trick did, and they were cool.
Yeah.
So
We didn't know. So we're at Bob's house, and we call the War Memorial. Where's that? No, where do we call the whatever the Weedsport, the box office?
Yeah.
And we're like, hey, can you tell us who's opening for the band? And we're like, it's me, him, and Derek. We're laying in the bed. We're sitting there, and I'm like, hey, can you tell us who's opening for the band? And they're like, it is Cheap Trick and Tom Kimmel. I'm like, Tom Kimmel? And all of a sudden, Derek just goes, fuck you. So randomly throughout our lives,
like
we'll
it was the
literally
lady-
just say, one of us will just say, Tom Kimmel. Fuck yeah. we could be at the mall. We could be on a road trip. We could be at work. And just like, if you hear Tom Kimmel, you immediately have to yell, F you. It's funny.
It's a good way to find each other when you're in
Right. Oh, yeah.
crowded
You know, if you ever go to
situations, you know?
Walmart, hey, where is he? Tom Kimmel. Oh, he's in electronics. Exodus. I think I saw them. I think I saw them somewhere on some tour or some show that I went to see a different band, and they just happened to be. Wait, hold on! Don't say anything.
Headbangers Ball Tour.
Where?
MTV's Headbangers Ball Tour.
That was it with Anthrax. Yeah. Was it in Troy? It was in Troy, New York.
Couple of morons pull up to my house and they go, "Hurry up, get in the car!" And I'm like,
Wait, was it me? Was it me and Wendy? Was Wendy?
It was you, Wendy, and Tracy.
Wendy and Tracy. That's right.
Because we're beep, beep, beep out of my front. I'm like,
we're working at Price Chopper. We're working at Price Chopper. It's like, hey, let's go to the show. Like, okay. We go to the store. Come on. We're going to Troy to see it. We went.
I said Troy is 3.5 hours away, and the show starts in 2 hours. We'll make it.
We did.
We made it.
We made it.
The second to last song. We made it.
It's a road trip story.
Yes, we did.
Halloween, Exodus, and
Yep. Halloween, Exodus, and Anthrax. Yep.
That would have been good.
And I also saw Exodus open for Testament in Niagara Falls recently.
Recently. Nice. All right, we got a few more here. Blue Oyster Cult. Never did. Nope. Of course he did. Of course he did.
At one of the Chicken Wing Fests, you saw them too, Bill. If you
did?
went around the corner to where 2CW was having its show at a Chicken Wing Fest.
Oh, you know what? Hold on. Let me put it on my list. I saw Blue Oyster Cult. I mean, it's not anything I'm proud of, but I saw him. I'm putting it on. 35.
And you might have been there too, Ed.
I was just wondering. I probably saw.
Oh my God.
You know,
guys, remember that time we hung out at the Blue Oyster Cult concert?
Yeah. As we're talking about all these and you guys are going over once, I'm like, I feel like I've seen that band before, but I forget about a lot of the opening bands because I don't like always pay attention to the opening band. Like if I go to see Black Label Society, they might have two openers that are probably on this list somewhere that I would just like, yeah, whatever. I just want to see, I'm gonna go outside and hang out or
Right.
sit at the bar and have some beers before Black Label comes on. So there's a lot of bands that I don't remember all the opening bands, or if I make it on time, because sometimes
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
go with Nolan and he's always, we'll get there for them anyway,
Right.
You'd
Right.
miss a lot of the openers.
We used
That's
to
funny
drive
though.
5 and 6 hours to just see the opening band. Remember that stuff?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Yep.
now I drive 5 or 6 hours. I want to sleep. I want to go the night before, sleep, and then see the show.
So back then, we, meaning he, would drive the 5 or 6 hours, and I would sleep on the way.
And on the way home.
Yeah, and on the way home. I was so refreshed when I got home. It was great. Never tired ever on those trips. Except for that one time I woke up in the car and he was a mile away taking a shit.
Hey, you may take them. I leave them.
Jesus. It's like a little heads up next time, bro.
Oh.
Anthrax, of course. But you just reminded me of another time I saw Anthrax, but on that
Next
tour.
million times. That's probably number 6 on my list.
And do you count all those times you told us you were hanging out with Joey Belladonna at the shows too?
Belladonna
You get
is
a quarter
at every show.
point for that. I'll tell you this quick Joey Belladonna story. Bob and I went to, of all places, to see first time I ever saw him, didn't even know they existed. We went to see Chief Bigway at the Ledge in North Syracuse. The old, was it called the Old Ledge now? But it was, I can't remember what it was called in the interim. There was a different name for it, but it's called the Old Ledge. But back then it was called I think it was the name in between. Whatever, regardless. Chief Bigway was playing. Chief Bigway being Joey Belladonna's. Yeah, it was Lose. That's what it was. It was Lose. Joey Belladonna has a cover band called Chief Bigway. They do Journey
Joe
and
Precourt play guitar.
Yeah. Yes, he did.
Yeah.
So we go there and we're hanging out there and watching them. And I remember leaning to Bob going, I'm gonna put a band together to do shit like this. Because that was like, I always did the 80s, blah, 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 but he's doing like Journey and Foreigner, and just, I'm like, I can sing this stuff. I'm putting a band together to do this. And that's how the band Bombshell that I had for a few years came about.
Nice.
Because it was like D played bass, he could sing. Brian Hurry played drums, he could sing. Brian Donnelly played guitar. He couldn't sing, but he could fucking rip on guitar. And Billy Blanchard can sing, play keyboards. Yeah. And then after Donnelly left because a work restrictions, he worked for the county and stuff. He couldn't just do it. He got a promotion, so he couldn't do it anymore. He needed more time to do it. Jimmy Falco joined, and he can sing,
nice.
and he can shred. Yeah. So yeah, that was Bombshell was a good time, but that was the inspiration to do that band was
nice.
Was watching Chief Bigway, Joey Belladonna's band, do that. I'm like, all right, let's go. Korn, I never saw Korn.
Let's go.
Korn.
I think I saw them at a K-Rockathon once. I wasn't into them, but they were there.
I've never gotten into them. I don't know.
I've seen them a couple times. The first time was in LA at the pre-party for the Foundation's Forum at the Whiskey.
Nice.
They did a showcase, and they had just come out with their album. Like, nobody knew who they were, and it was such a stripped down show.
Mm-hmm.
But,
yeah, their first shows kind of were. They were very much a club band from like the documentaries I watched on them back in the day. But a lot of my friends were really into them, and they had all the VHS tapes. They had a couple of them, I think, that came out. But yeah, they had the Follow the Leader album I liked. A lot of people didn't like that one, but or not Follow the Leader, it's Untouchables. I think it was. What was the one I liked?
Yeah, that's one that a lot of people don't like, but I think it's. I like about 3/4 of their stuff, I'd say.
Morbid Angel.
Never. I saw them a couple other times too. Korn. That's once at an Ozfest and
this guy.
A couple other things.
How many concerts do you think you've been to altogether in your life? There's no counting. Thousands.
I used to write them down, but I stopped doing that a long time ago. So maybe not thousands, maybe 800.
Morbid Angel.
No,
No, can't say that I have.
I had a
And
chance
then
in Rochester to see them. I got put on a guest list from Gerbil, who does the Sound and the Fury.
mhm.
He guest list for it, but I didn't make it to the show.
And then last band here. I mean, I don't know who'd they ever beat. Tool.
Oh, come on.
And he's like, and I quit.
Uh, I once on one tour I saw them in Rochester, Albany, Syracuse, and Buffalo. From one to the next,
That's
when they came
awesome.
out this way. Actually, I think they did Syracuse last. I think they did Albany and then like Buffalo, Rochester. I know Albany was first, but then they went, I think, to Canada. Then they came back and did Syracuse, and then I went to Syracuse to see them.
So you finished up your run in your hometown.
Yeah, which is
That's
pretty cool.
badass. We did that. We did that one time, a 5-day in a row wrestling trip. It was Jim Thorpe, Philly, Albany. It was remember when they used to do Raw live on Mondays, and then they would do a Tuesday Raw, and they would be taped for the next week.
Yeah.
We did Jim Thorpe for ECW Friday night. Saturday we did Philly. It was WrestleMania. It was WrestleMania 15. Philly. There was the what was it? The WrestleMania Rage Party on Saturday. WrestleMania was on Sunday. Monday Albany Raw, and Tuesday Syracuse Raw.
Wow.
I remember sitting at the Syracuse Raw going, man, this fucking sucks. No, you know what? No, it was Philly. It was Philly because that's where the Rage Party was, and we went to Jim Thorpe the night before. Was it that the night that it couldn't have been? No, I'm thinking of the Raw after WrestleMania 14, where Shawn left, and the Raw was the Raw on that. I know I'm getting off topic here, but was the Raw?
It's a rock and wrestling show, dude. You can talk wrestling.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Sorry, we're talking wrestling in the Slams and Jams. Let me slam for a minute. What was the Raw on that tour? I thought it was Albany, but I think Albany was the Raw after the Boston WrestleMania 14, because that's where Trips came out, took over because Shawn was gone, took over DX, then they brought. That's where they had the cage match, and Billy and Road Dogg showed up at it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's where they formed the later incarnation of DX.
Or DX.
Yeah, I'll have to look it up and figure it out. You see Tool, Bobby? I'm sure you did, right?
I saw Tool once. It was bittersweet because I had front row seats to that radio station that I worked for. But I had to leave halfway through Tool's set because I had an event to do for the station that night.
Really?
Yep. So I handed my ticket to somebody that was back a little further, and they were happy.
Nice.
There you go. It's the
What
way
a
to
guy.
do it.
What a hell of a guy. Hell of a.
And I love him.
Well, that's how many did you guys add them up all together or no?
It was a top 10 that I've ever seen.
Wow. That's good.
Were you
How many
sober?
times have you seen him? I know they're your favorite, so.
Man, I was trying to count today and I couldn't. I think I saved all my ticket stubs, but I've seen them like every tour they've been on since that first round of shows I saw. So that was like 4 there, 5, 6, 7. I'd say probably maybe 10.
Nice.
Last time I went with Brandon Smith. Was a local guitar player, and him and I went and saw them. Actually, you know what? We'll get to that.
I have a feeling it might be on his. What
it
we're going
might
to talk
be.
about next. So now, all right, now it's time for us to do our, you know what it's called, our Mount Rushmore. What he said, what that guy said. See, yeah, Bobby's like, what the hell? What was that? Yeah, well, you know,
Happens every week. I don't know.
happens every week. This guy jumps in and takes over. It's actually Nick. He's maturing. Mount Rushmore. So our Mount Rushmore of best concerts. Now, when I looked at it's kind of easy, the criteria. Each one of mine has a little bit of a reason / story. We don't have to. We've gone long, so we don't have to go like totally into it. But I'll start. I'll go first. The number one on my list, and it's because it was a place I spent a lot of my time growing up in my teenage years and beyond. And it was with I was there with my best friend, and it was seeing one of my very favorite bands for the very first time in one of my favorite venues for the very first time. We talked about it earlier. I'm gonna put on there the very first Manowar show, August 16th, 1987, at the Lost Horizon.
Nice.
So I have. It's not for me. It's not so much like, oh my god, that was note for note. Oh my god, he came out and did 7 on. Oh my god, it's memorable for multiple reasons. It was a killer show. Holy shit, these guys really are the fucking loudest band in the world. I couldn't hear for a week after.
That
You know
voice.
what I mean? What's that?
That voice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I mean,
then hearing him sing, talk about an inspiration to want to be a singer. Holy frig, man. So that's my first one on my Mount Rushmore. Who goes?
what
Who
about
go
the
now?
fact that the fans knew every word to every
Yep.
song? Like
Yep.
we only knew the one album pretty much at that point. Then we went out and got every album that you could find, every bootleg import, everything.
So, dude. Mm-hmm.
That's all we knew. Everybody else
Over to Knuckleheads to get all the imports.
True. It was Knucklehead.
So I don't know what like you could describe it as, but before they play, like literally, I don't think that did they ever have they had opening bands in the first show, obviously we talked about it. But right before they're about to play, not right before, but after all the other bands are done, they play all this like symphony music, and it's just they just play it over, and just when you
Conan
think
the
it's time for them
Barbarian.
to go on. Yep.
The Conan the Barbarian soundtrack.
Yep, they just play it all. They just keep playing it and playing it and playing it to the point where the crowd is getting restless. And they're chanting, "Start the fucking show! Start the fucking show!" And like we were just like, "What's happening here? Oh God, we're in the middle of a riot!" And all of a sudden, the lights go, and just like because everybody's in a frenzy because they're so pissed that they had to wait like literally an hour between the opening band and them. And then they just come out and just rip people's faces off. It's awesome.
And Ed, I'm jealous of you because we got to see them in a club do that. You got to see them in front of tens of thousands of people with everybody.
Yeah.
Words.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That it was incredible. They all the flags, like everybody that represented a country outside of Germany, they brought their flag. So there's a sea of people with just waving their country's flags in the air throughout the whole
That's
thing.
awesome.
It was awesome.
That's
incredible.
badass. All right,
So
who goes
at number 4? Did you go number wise, or are you naming 4 of them?
No, I'm just putting them in. There's no particular order for mine.
That's how I planned on doing it too. Cool.
All right, who goes next? Bobby?
That's one of mine.
Nice.
%.
Nice.
I describe it, simply put, I describe it as a religious experience.
Yeah.
That's
And it opened up a whole new. We're like, what the hell? Where have we been? Where has this been? And then it's just like literally we became, not deadheads, but we became Joey heads.
Metalheads.
It's like, yeah. And the thing is,
Ross.
it was an experience. It was an experience too, because they didn't play as often as, even though they were from around this area, they didn't play as often as like other bands would. You know what I mean? Even to the point where now they never play here. They literally, was it last year that you guys went?
In November. Yep, it was Thanksgiving weekend.
They went Thanksgiving weekend to Brooklyn. They did a show in Brooklyn, and him and Derek went. And
you were invited.
I know. They asked me to go. I didn't go, and I regretted it. They were sending me pictures and videos. I'm like, motherfucker, son of a. Eddie, what do you got for your first one?
My first one is the one I was just talking about. February 27th, 2022. KeyBank Center, 10th row to see Tool. But the reason why it was special to me was because, we've had the episode where we talk about music speaks to you. And at that time I was going through a lot of crap, a lot of personal stuff. And it seemed like their set list was picked for me. Like every song that meant something to me that band plays, a whole catalog of music, they played every single one of them.
Wow.
And I would just like, I'll never see another Tool show like that. Like it'll never happen.
Nice.
Like when I tell, a Tool fan, like, hey, they played this in this town, they played that in that town. Like anytime they like get excited about them playing a song somewhere at a show they've been to, I'm like, it was on that show.
Wow.
Like every single one of them was on that show. Like it'll always live in infamy for me. And I probably cried 3 or 4 times during that show because I'm just like, what is going on?
Right,
like how are they playing
like,
all these songs right now?
Am I being punked here? No, what's going on?
Yeah. It was
That's
nuts.
awesome.
But yeah, definitely on my Mount Rushmore.
Nice. My number 2 is also a show that we talked about earlier, and it was just I think it was like one of my first like real. It was 1988, so I don't know if it was like, it was kind of like a real, like, I don't want to say tour, the road trip. It was like my first big road trip on our own to go see something like this, and just the lineup was just incredible. I'm June 19th, 88, the Monsters of Rock tour. It was Kingdom Come, in this order: Kingdom Come, Metallica, Dokken, Scorpions, and Van Halen with Sammy singing. And I remember specifically Dokken. I loved the Dokken even back then, and it was badass that I'm seeing them live. I think probably for the first time. Metallica playing. Jason was playing bass at the time. It was I remember them saying, "We're gonna play a new song for you." And they said they I don't know if they did this at all of their Monster Rock shows and said the same thing, but you guys are the best crowd ever. You guys are better than last night, but one of those deals. Yeah. But they played we're gonna play you a new song off our upcoming album, and they played Harvester of Sorrow. And it was like, okay, we get to hear a new one. And then I just remember that because every time I hear that song, I'm like, ooh, we got to hear it first. But that was good, and it was with my best bro, Bobby and I there. As sunburned as we got, it was a fucking riot, so.
And that's one of mine too. We're gonna have a lot of the same ones.
Yeah. Nice. I guarantee you that those two are the only two that we have that are the same.
It was because of the camaraderie, who I was with.
Yep.
And just the memories, the little things you remember, the bus trip there. Like we had to go to, was it Gerber Music at the time?
I remember it was something weird. Yeah, we didn't. Yeah, we took a bus to the show.
It was Cabbages.
Maybe Cabbages. So ask Darren Scott.
To sign up for this bus trip. Let me fix my camera.
You're good.
Camera. I hate it.
You're good. We got you.
The bus trip there, so you can cut that right there.
Yeah, we're good.
The bus trip alone. The bus trip.
Tell us about the bus trip, Bob.
We had to go to Cabbages, and didn't we have to have our parents sign paperwork?
I can't remember. I don't know.
Age or something like that. There was something weird that we had to fill out, and we had to pay like $50.
Well, you were an adult at the time. I was not quite. You were 18. I was 17.
That's right.
You were my chaperone. You were my guardian.
Yeah,
Bob was my guardian at the show.
I don't remember it perfectly, but I bet that's probably what was the case.
Excuse me, son. Who are you with? This is my guardian right here. Don't you see how
Son,
red
do you
he
know
is?
this man?
This is my guardian, the lobster man, and I am
But
his
yeah,
lobster son.
I remember one point in the show where you were as red as a lobster, and I did what a best friend would do. I slapped your leg as hard as I could.
He did. He slapped my
And
leg.
my handprint was there for the rest of the day and
Bitch.
probably the next 2 days.
I have a picture somewhere. I'll have to get it. I have a picture of Bob and I from the next day at the wrestling show with
Sherry Martel.
with us and Sherry. Yep, and with Sherry Martel before she was sensational. Well, she's always sensational, but she's Sherry Martel wrestling against Debbie Combs or whoever at the show,
Yeah.
and we're red as F.
It's Debbie Gomes. I
Whatever.
just pulls the name out
He's
of
good
nowhere.
with pulling these randoms.
Full of
He
Debbie
pulls
Combs
these
out of my
randoms
ass.
out sometimes. It's good
How do you
wit.
know it wasn't Velvet McIntyre?
They could
Yeah.
have been. Oh, I think it might have been Velvet McIntyre, to be honest. You know what? We got to look it up in our book, Ed.
Yeah, right.
Bobby.
That's funny you say
is
that too about the red because I keep looking at my face every time I laugh on this camera.
Oh, yeah.
I look like I'm laughing harder than I am because I'm so sunburned right now.
You look like you've been at the Monsters of Rock tour.
Yeah, it's
Not me. Nick will tell me I look like Sheamus. Ah! Bobby, is that your
Yeah.
second one? Oh, Monsters of Rock. That was your second one.
That was my second one. Yeah, the first two.
What do you got,
And-
Ed, for number two? Or your second
my
one?
number 2 is Alice Cooper and Bad Arolsen, Germany. Was probably one of the most incredible shows I'd ever seen up at that point and probably since.
Nice.
Just the theatrical spectacle of it all. He had Carrie Kelly playing guitar. I think I was named Carrie Kelly. Dude was like smoking. Like he reminded me. I thought at first it was Steve Stevens. I think I asked around
Wait, was
the
it
crowd. If
was it
anyone
the
knew.
big jacked guy?
No. That
okay.
was I know who
Wait,
you're
that was
talking about.
Kane, what was his name? Kane
Roberts.
Kane Roberts. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I
Kane
thought you were
Roberts.
talking about.
Yeah. Now this guy, he looked a lot like Steve Stevens, had the crazy hair and everything.
Okay.
But then he also came out and did the flamenco guitar solo like Steve Stevens would too. And I'm like,
nice.
bravo, this guy's incredible. Because I'm a big Steve Stevens fan, so I'm like, this guy's awesome. But yeah, his show was great, and like my brother stayed after with me, to watch the show because they had had a car that would take us to and from the show, obviously, and like the car was leaving like before Alice Cooper's show would be over. They're like, if you want a car, they had a building you'd go into and you'd request your car to come get you.
Right.
But they were gonna like shut it down at like 10 o'clock or something. I'm like, no, I'm staying for Alice Cooper. And so we asked the lady inside, like, hey, can we like call for a cab? Will you be here to let us use the phone so we can call? So we got a cab, and the guy like didn't stay on one side of the road or the other. And
Oh my
these,
god. Oh god.
roads are like this. It was terrifying drive home, but he stole money from me, cab driver. It was like a
Jesus Christ.
equivalent about $13. So I gave him a 50 and he wouldn't give me change. And I'm like, my brother always tell me the quote, my exact quote. I was like, change. He goes, you're a festival. You drink too much. I go, motherfucker, I am the festival. And he took off with me standing there and the door's just flopping. Never shut the door. He just took off.
He
Like
took off before Donnie Carpenter could put his fucking foot upside his head. All of a sudden, your sister, who's not even in Germany, just comes out of nowhere and puts a boot on the other side of his head.
It's
Wait,
like
I
the
didn't know you were here, sis. What's up?
It's like the chicken fight from Family Guy. It just
Yeah.
starts all over.
Starts over. That's great.
But yeah, Alice Cooper, man, that was one of the greatest nights of my life, just for story wise, I guess.
That's awesome. All right, I'm going number 3 with something a little more recent. I never was really into this dude. Melissa turned me on to him, and I started listening to his stuff, and I would listen to it in her car, and then I got more and more into it, and then I found out he was coming in concert, and my buddy Josh helped me. The ticket wizard helped me procure some tickets for this show, And he $700 later for a pair of tickets. I took my girl to go see Post Malone at Darien Lake, July 17th, 2023. And let me tell you something. This dude puts on a fucking show. And he's just like such a humble, awesome dude. Not that I met him, but like just his whole demeanor and just how he talks to his fans, and and just like it's really it's badass. And the thing that I remember the most out of it is so we had 7th row tickets. Okay.
Yeah.
And so we had 7th row behind the pit. We knew we were behind the pit, so we were 7 rows behind the pit. So we get there and we're going down and we're like, what the hell? So we're like, well, this doesn't make any sense. And then I look down in the pit. So we get down there and they put us in the row behind the barrier. There's the pit, there's a stage, the pit, the barrier, the metal barrier, and then there's our row. And I'm like, okay, I guess. And then I look down in the pit and you could see that there's markers for like if they were to do seating in the pit, because I guess every concert wouldn't have a pit. You could see row A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. We had like I, whatever letter coincides with row 7. So the first 6 rows were the pit. So we had 7th row tickets, but it was actually the first row behind the pit. So it was pretty badass. We weren't like
that is killer.
jammed it. Yeah. We're sitting there ready, whatever. Lights go down. He comes out on stage doing his first song. And I turn to her and she looks at me and she's got fucking tears streaming down her face. And she's just having she's just like so happy. I'm just like, okay. I'm not that I cared because I already bought them months and months before, but I'm just like, okay, that made that $700 well fucking worth it right there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was badass.
That's
and what
beautiful.
a fucking show. This dude, even like he's so humble. Like he goes, oh, guys, he goes, I'm gonna do a couple songs off my new album. He goes, I know how that goes. I went to concerts. He goes, if you guys want to go get drinks or something right now, you can. If you want to listen, you can. Like he's so humble. And then everybody just stayed and would listen, you know what I mean? But I was like, yeah, it was so good. And that was as we speak, I mentioned it earlier, in the torrential downpour, I'm ready to go see him and Jelly Roll perform tomorrow night. And this is before his country. I don't know if I don't know, you guys aren't in the country, but like he put out a country album last year and it's really good. It's got some really good songs on it. And this was before the country album came out. But I'm happy that I'll get to hear him do his old stuff and the country stuff mixed in. So that was definitely fantastic show. Literally, I tell people like that was one of the best concerts I've ever seen in my life. But the fact that it made her so happy too was just like icing on the cake. So
and he's got ties from around here too.
Yep.
He went to Phoenix Central Schools for a while before moving to Syracuse.
Baldwin.
He grew up in this area for a short time. He was here. So
till he was 7. 7 years old.
What do you got, Bobby, for number 3?
Still, and first of all, I'm going to give mad respects to absolutely. He's a huge rock fan as well. Yep. I do believe he's got a rock album that will be out at some point.
Oh yeah.
He's got one in him. There's no doubt about that. No matter whether they want to push him to that direction or not, but I'm sure he's big enough at this point where he'll be like, I'm doing a rock album.
So he could do his traditional stuff. He could do his country stuff. He could do his rock stuff. He's so multi-talented. He's
like one of those artists like Pink,
Yep.
Just the same type of thing where
you
got to have respect for him no matter what, whether it's your style of music, they can come into your style of music and tear it up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just like Beyond. Never mind. Cowboy Carter. Sorry. I was all right. Whatever.
I don't listen to her enough, but I don't know. So if you tell me that, I'll believe you.
I was being sarcastic on her, but Bobby, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is Tori Amos on the Little Earthquakes tour at the Landmark Theater.
I had a feeling you were going to say Tori Amos because you talked about her a lot. You loved her a lot. And it was so,
Just
the thing with Tori
yep.
Amos, the thing
I
with
mean,
Tori Amos is she's so out of his wheelhouse, that like, it's got to be something special if he's liking her, you know?
you'd be shocked how many metalheads like her, though. It's a strange, really strange relationship. But not the fact that she did Slayer's Raining Blood. Okay. But she did. She did a version of that.
That's
But
awesome. On
even
piano?
before that, like there were just a ton of metalheads that have always been into Tori. I don't know everybody that I know. Like I cannot describe just how awestruck I was with her from the minute. There's nobody like Tori Amos, and it's polarizing because people cannot stand her for the same reasons that the people that love her totally love her. But it was,
Right.
I was just awestruck. I've seen her several times. Just that first time was breathtaking.
Nice.
Yeah, she did a duet with Maynard from Tool too.
Yeah,
back in '97.
Past the Mission. Yep.
Yeah.
She
Nice.
dated him for a while. So
Eddie, what's your number 3, buddy?
or was that Muhammad, my friend, that you're talking about? Because Past the Mission, he did. Sorry to interrupt there, but it could be Muhammad, my friend.
I think it was. I think you're right. Yes. Yes, it was.
Backup vocals for Past the Mission, though. There we go. Sorry, I had to correct myself there.
No, that's good. That's all right.
I love that you guys know your
Keeping
shit.
us in line.
Mhm.
Let's see. My next one was June 16th, 2011 at it was a Perfect Circle at the Festival Pier at Penn's Landing in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. For a couple of reasons. One, it's probably the coolest venue I've ever seen any band at. It's literally on a pier where you have these big like cargo ships on one side, and then right to your left or just kind of behind you is the George Washington Bridge all lit up going over to Jersey from where you're like right next to where the stage is. It was a gorgeous night. Everybody there was super kind. I don't think I've ever heard Maynard sing as good as he did that night. Like just everything was just spot on. Every song they did. It was the first time I heard him do John Lennon's Imagine live. That was just waterworks when that happened. I was like, Jesus, man, that's friggin' beautiful. But just overall an amazing experience. Like, sometimes all of the check marks all the boxes are checked, for a good night and a good concert, and that was definitely one of them.
I love how that you're like me, that music makes you emotional. Yeah. I was like, yeah, big time. Big time does.
If it doesn't, there's no reason we're doing this show. You know?
Right.
I mean,
right. I remember I'll talk about it. I remember one time I was listening to I was in my feels. And I know you're going to remember this, Bobby. I was in my fields and I drove over to the cemetery where my mom is, and I was just listening to this song over and over. And it's not. I think I talked about it maybe in a previous episode. That it's not a song that the words and the meaning and the words of the song don't remind me of her, but it's just it's a song that I always remember listening in the car over and over. We listened to the old Conway Twitty cassette tape in the car, and I remember that song playing while we were on our way every weekend to Fairhaven Beach, and it just reminded me of my mom. And I was in my feels about something, and I went there, and I just like sitting there just bawling my eyes out in the car, parked next to the row where she is. And then I called Bob. What's up? I'm like, I need you. What do you mean? What's the matter? I'm like, I need you. I'm at the cemetery. He was fucking there in like 3 minutes.
to be honest, I live close to it.
Yeah, but still, I think he might have been grave tipping down the way there, but I don't know. I can't confirm nor deny. But he shows up, pulls up behind me, gets out of his car, comes over, gets in the passenger seat of my car, and just sits there and just listens to me and talks to me and hugs me and just like, yeah, that's my bro right there. Anyways, not to bring the show down too late.
You're gonna get all of us going now.
I'm gonna go with my number 4 is and I can say this, I don't care. This literally as we speak, this happened 2 weeks ago. Literally the number 4 on my Mount Rushmore of best concerts of all time happened 2 weeks ago in Rochester, New York, with one of my other bros, Bill Ali. We went to Rochester to see the amazing Vince Gill. And as you know, obviously, Bobby, Vince Gill's always been one of my favorites. He's an amazing singer. He's an amazing guitar player, but he played every single one of his hits. He played no opener, started at 7:30. We walked out of the building at 11:15. There was a 20-minute break in between. After the break, when he first came back out, he played 7 songs in a row that are coming up. They're coming out on an upcoming album that he has coming up later in the year. It's 7 brand new songs. Now you go to a concert and you see a band going, "Oh, we're gonna do a new one." I had to pee anyway. Let's go. Not one fucking person left that room. And every one of the songs, I'm not being biased, every one of the songs are bangers. They're great songs. And he had a story behind each one that he would tell. And it was just Bill and I just sitting there freaking singing and just loving life. I didn't have one drop of alcohol, didn't need anything to like get me in the mood or jazz me up or relax me. I literally just fucking enjoyed every second I was at that show.
That kind of ruined it for you.
Oh, no. I put him in his place. Yeah, that was great. And literally the dude is 67 years, 68, 67, 68 years old.
Wow. I didn't realize.
Yeah, I didn't know he was that old either. But man, he's still funny, and he's funny too. He tells freaking jokes between like it's great. Oh, it's just
he was in Eagles for a while.
Pure yeah, he's still in it. He still is.
Still doing
it?
He's still in it. Yeah. He said he was going back out. They're gonna do another residency at the Sphere in Las Vegas.
Nice.
Yep. Bobby, number 4.
Number 4 for me was March 30th, 2007. It was a show that I mentioned earlier that I went to with Bill Ali. It was Black Sabbath. They called themselves Heaven and Hell because we all know they couldn't use the name Black Sabbath on that final tour. And it was Radio City Music Hall. There was, as much as I love Dio and his solo stuff, and I love the Rainbow stuff, I think he shined when he was in Black Sabbath. I think the stuff that he, Iommi, and Geezer Butler and Vinny Appice made together was just simply, and again, magical is another word for it. And my phone is not cooperating with me during this, and this is annoying.
You're fine. Let it be. You're good. There you go.
Let it be.
Yeah,
That's
don't touch anything because you focus more on the Dio shirt now that you're talking about him.
Good, yeah. But it's not about Dio because it's about all those guys together.
Nice.
Just feel that something magical happened that night. And of course, we lost Ronnie a few years later. But that was the last thing he was doing was that band. They were getting ready to do another tour and come out with another album at some point. But I guess Bill Ali could probably explain the story to you too, just how it just felt like you could cut the excitement with a knife in the air. Just the fact that those guys went through so much hell together, not once, but twice, just bad breakups, great albums, bad personal relationships. And then they came back, and at the end,
Persevered through it all. Yeah.
at the very end, they forgave each other and made some of the best music that I think the Heaven and Hell album that came out is probably the fourth best Black Sabbath album ever to be made. But I'm very biased. I love Ozzy. Don't get me wrong. If it wasn't for Ozzy, I wouldn't have known who Dio was. I'm not one of these people that likes to play them against each other. I love Ozzy, but to me, Dio took that to the next level for me. He made music. He made me expand my musical passion even more.
Nice.
But I got to give props to Ozzy. Everybody, again, it's either Ozzy or Dio. No, it's not.
Right.
Both of them.
Right.
But Dio, just for me, he speaks to me more. That's all.
Nice. Well said. Ed, number 4.
My number 4. I don't know. This one I had a kind of it's a toss up. Because it's not so much for the concert, but it was the experience of it all, which is kind of silly. But for me, it was probably the greatest weekend of my life, and I know I've talked to Billy about it before. But last October, Carrie and I took a flight to Atlanta to see Marvelous 3 on Halloween weekend.
Oh,
2 nights in a row. Our hotel was a resort, basically, and it was literally a walk across the street, you're at the place. And Halloween weekend, so I dressed up as Ric Flair. And now the great thing about walking around like Ric Flair in Atlanta is you become Ric Flair in Atlanta. The Omni was right across the street from our
Oh my
hotel. You could see it out the
God.
window.
You didn't tell me that part. Damn it.
I've got a picture of me in my robe holding my belts up, like so you can just see my back, and over my shoulders the Omni out our window in
Amazing.
the hotel. Yeah, it was the most incredible time I ever had in my life. I walked into it, and the whole place goes woo, like everybody in the crowd just woos. One of the greatest, like cars were stopping in the road to woo me and go Nature Boy. Buses were stopping. It was the most incredible, most fun. I'm dropping $50 on the bar for the bartender to get me a whiskey when they closed it, and
wait,
I was the last.
Did you order virgin drinks?
No, no.
They were fully.
No, he
wasn't.
He wasn't Ric Flairing like that, because that's what Flair would do. At some point, he would start ordering he would start slipping them extra money to not give him the alcohol, but he would still play the part.
Toss it over his shoulder.
So yeah, exactly. Put it in the planter behind him.
But it was so much fun. They gave me so many privileges just because I was dressed as Ric Flair. I was the last one to leave, and they there was a female security guard. I had her walk me out arm to arm. So she walked me out of the building.
So
So all the
awesome.
fans are out in the like out on the sidewalk. They're all like, "Woo, Nature Boy." Just a great time, man. Super fun. Of course, like not the band was awesome. How are they not? They're always awesome. They always put on, even at their age now, they still put on the kind of show that they did 20 years ago. Butch Walker is just phenomenal. You could watch him sing and play. I could watch every show that he's done, man. It's no doubt about it. They're just a great band altogether. What's that?
Would you be mad at me if I said I got to see South Gang?
I would be envious of you. That's for sure. I would never be mad at you.
They played at the Pump House when it was called something else. I can't remember what the name of it was at the time, but
that's awesome.
And I got to.
They were
find
so good.
It's something like in our Rushmores, I noticed there's like a pattern a little bit. Like you went with, and why wouldn't you? Just like why wouldn't I go with Melissa to the Post Malone thing? But like, and then Bob, you're talking about when you went to the Radio City with Bill. It's like, it's a great show. There's memories of that show, but it's like you said earlier, it's that experience with someone who's important to you. and it's just that hits that memory too, you know.
Oh,
Like
Bill
my
Ali for this show was big pimping. He was dressed to the freaking nine. The only person without a black t-shirt and jeans in the freaking place. You
That's
should have
funny.
seen this guy. He was dressed to the max, man.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Nice.
He was bringing the wardrobe.
That's great.
You were dressed
Well-
like Ric Flair. He was dressed like a pimp.
But like just my first two with Bobby, you know, with Post Malone, with Melissa, Vince Gill, with Bill. You know, there's like four, three, because Bobby was two of them. Very important people in my life. You know, before we wrap it up, and I know we've been going forever, but I have just a couple. Those are my four for my mount, but I have a couple, and I'll run through them real quick. Couple runners up. I have I went last September. I went to see Creed at Darien Lake. I never saw Creed live before. I never saw him back in the day or anything. I always liked them. What a fucking show. What a great show. Scott is healthy. He's fit and he's just killing it. Hitting the notes, probably maybe tuned down a half, whatever, but hitting the notes, entertaining as fuck. And, you know, it was just great. The whole band was awesome. And, we had Pitt, so we're down there, and I had two seltzers in the parking lot outside, but after that I didn't. It was my time where I was just like, no, I'm drinking too much. Not too much problem, but too much like it's stupid. Why drink on a random Thursday after work? It doesn't make any sense. So I had a couple in the parking lot just because, you know, we're tailgating a little bit. But inside I had this many drinks, and everyone around me did. And first of all, I was like, wow, is this how I fucking act when I'm drinking? I was like, what the hell's going on? But it made me appreciate the show more.
Yeah.
And I think I told this story in one of our previous episodes where when the song With Arms Wide Open came on, and that song, you know, you know the song, it just reminds me of Nick, my son. And I heard that, and everybody's like, oh, and I'm just like filming it, going, that's a ball my eyes out while I'm watching that, listening to that, and singing it along. And yeah, and then a segue there. Speaking of Nick, another one that really an experience sticks in my head was Nick's very first concert ever. September 15th, 2021. The Foo Fighters at the Amp, where they were stuck. Weather stuck them in New York City, and they were there they showed up to the show like 2 hours late.
Yeah.
And I remember going, what's going on? And it was cool because my dear friend Donna, she works security for the security team there, and Stacy Waterman was also working there backstage. So I'm like hitting with Donna, going, what's going on? Because we were just waiting. Nobody's saying anything, but we're waiting for the band to come out. She goes, I think there was an accident or something happened in New York City where they're stuck or whatever, blah, blah, blah. So then I text Stacy and I was like, hey, what's up? And Stacy's giving me updates, but probably 8 million people are probably hitting her up because they know she's there and she works there and she's, you know, a big name in that whole setup thing.
Right.
And then I think it was Stacy. It was Stacy. She goes, they're on their way. And like she said that before they even made the announcement. I'm like, they're on their way. They're on their way. I could be that guy that telling everybody, like, they're on their way. They're on their way. So, and they're like, all right, ladies and gentlemen. I was like, oh, everybody's all restless and getting pissed. And we just got word that they've just boarded a plane and they're on their way. And then they showed up, and, you know, Dave Grohl came out, and he's like, you know, he's walking around the stage and place is going nuts. And, you know, they started they're just playing like slowly playing background music and stuff. And we almost didn't make it here tonight, you know. He goes, we would miss this shit for the world. And they went right, they played Times Like These first. And then these fuckers, they started at like 10 o'clock, maybe after 10. Because they were supposed to start at like, I can't remember, but they showed up like 2 hours late regardless.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, probably
They
got to say anything.
they played 2 fucking full hours of shit. They played their
Oh,
entire set. I think
did
they may have. I think they may have cut like one song. They played 2 fucking hours. It was after midnight by the time we got out there. They played a full show. They didn't rip anybody off. They came out and it was just fucking incredible. And obviously to obviously to find out later, after the whole thing goes down with Taylor, that we got to see him on his last tour before he passed. So that was cool too. And yeah, that was just an experience. Now, the biggest part of that is I got to experience, of all the concerts I've gone to in my life and over the years, I got to experience my son's first concert with him. And he had a blast, and it was amazing. It was incredible. And then one more real quick. I took my daughters way back when to Rochester, stayed overnight, and I'll tell this story another time. It's actually a great story. But I took them to Rochester to see the Best of Both Worlds Miley Cyrus tour, where she was half of it was she was dressed like Hannah Montana singing the songs from the show. And the other one was when she was just starting to twist out of Hannah Montana, going out on her own as Miley, and she had just put it out an album as Miley. So it's the Best of Both Worlds tour. So half was Hannah, half was Miley, and then the opening band was the Jonas Brothers. And let me tell you something. For another one of those moments, just like when I looked at Melissa and she was bawling her eyes out at the Post Malone concert, I'm looking at these girls and they were just like, I think I have a picture somewhere, God only knows where, but a picture of them right when they came out. And it's a picture of the girls going, and they're so excited looking. They're so excited because they're seeing like these people that they look at, they're heroes, they're idols.
Yeah.
And my takeaway from that show, wicked ass snowstorm, by the way, I remember that was a snowstorm, just like the time that you didn't get into a fight with that security guy. My take after walking out of there was, these fucking kids can go. These kids are entertaining and they're energetic. Well, they're kids, but like, what a show. I was impressed and I was entertained throughout. Of course, you know me, Bobby. I knew all the fucking songs from them playing their shit over and over in the house and everything, but like, it was incredible. And that's another one where it's like, I got to do that for my kids and it was just great. It was a great concert. It was a great show, great time.
Nice.
Couple runners up for me would, and I'm not going to go into any stories, but I'm going to mention them. Those are great stories. There's no way I can top those. There's definitely no way I can top that. And I wouldn't even want to try to. But the couple runners up for me are Tool at the War Memorial. Even though I saw half the show, it was that good to me. And K-Rockathon 6, which featured Papa Roach and Stained and Drowning Pool, just for a lot of reasons. That was a big one to me.
Nice. Fun fact, I performed at a K-Rockathon. Remember that, Bobby? Didn't we have a wrestling show at the K-Rockathon?
Yep.
I wrestled against Big Bob Leo. Tall enough.
Yeah. Thinking it was that K-Rockathon.
Was it? Nice. All right, boys. It's been
memories.
What's that?
Runners up. Give me 2 quick runners up, Ed.
Runners up.
Oh boy.
Just I didn't know we were doing this shit. Damn it.
Yeah. I wasn't prepared for this. Big Wreck, probably, I'd say. Saw them out in Buffalo. It was like right on the Canadian border almost where we saw them. But we had VIP passes, and my buddy bought 2 packages thinking it meant 2 tickets, but each package had 2 tickets, so we ended up with like 4 tickets and 4 VIPs. So they had a cool band open up for him. But if you haven't seen Big Wreck live, they're insane. He's such a talented guitarist and singer. Very much reminds me of he just got that Soundgarden vibe to him, I think.
Ian Thorne.
Yeah, so good. But we that was the fun thing, was that we had these 2 extra passes, and we're in the pit area, and everyone's at the gate and everything, and it's all general admission, and me and Mike are just like, who do you think we should give these passes to? Like trying to figure out who would deserve them, or who would want them more, And we found a couple that had Ian Thorne, like his solo album shirt. And we asked where like, where'd you get that? And they're like, oh, we drove up to Canada to see him with his solo act like a month ago. And we're like, dude, that's commitment. They're like, yeah, anytime we can
Nice.
see him, and we drive all over. And Mike looks at me, I looked at Mike, I'm like,
You're like, here they are.
people, yeah. And we're like, how would you like to come over here? They just, arms up. So that would be a good one. And probably I'd have to say that Kiss concert at the War Memorial there, with Ted Nugent and Skid Row opening up.
Nice.
Because I mean, it's Kiss, but like, what a show! Like, no one's gonna put on a show like they do.
No.
It's just incredible all together. I'll never forget that night, being able to see him with Donnie and Paul Stanley flying across and landed on the little podium next to us and singing.
Yeah.
That was killer,
Nice.
man. That was killer.
Billy almost got in trouble at that show from Gene Simmons for wearing a ECW shirt.
I did.
You remember that?
Wow.
You ever see the ECW shirt that it's the cover of the was it the Destroyer album?
Yep.
But it's Taz, Tommy Dreamer, Sabu, and Sandman.
Yeah, I have seen that.
Yeah. And
forgot about that.
And one of the Kiss security people saw me. He goes, "Where'd you get that shirt?" I'm like, "It's a wrestling shirt." He goes, "I gotta tell Gene about that." I don't know if he was like busting balls.
Wait here. He told Bill,
Yeah.
wait here. Bill's
Yeah, wait here. I'm like, oh yeah,
I
okay,
am.
because you're gonna take my shirt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Talk to. My name is Paul Heyman. He doesn't even pay his workers. He's gonna give you money for this fucking shirt. What are you talking about? He'll write you a check. Trust me, it's okay. Cash it.
He'll fly
Cash
here
it
to
up.
talk to you, but it'll be an bereavement ticket, a bereavement
Gene wants
flight.
his cut, man. Gene needs his cut.
Don't cash it until the 32nd of the month. All right, we've gone way ass.
I had to squeeze that in because it was wrestling and rock related.
Oh yeah. Oh, there you
yeah.
go. We had full side. Speaking of wrestling, we're gonna talk about some wrestling next week. I don't know what, but we've done a couple weeks here with some talking about some concerts, talking about some our Mount Rushmores. Bobby, it was awesome to have you on with us. You'll definitely be on again. Definitely be on again with us sometime for sure, sooner than later.
I haven't seen Ed in years.
What's that?
I haven't seen Ed in years.
I know.
There you go, in years.
You know what's funny? We were sitting here talking about that Jeff Tate show. I went in my phone. I'm like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna surprise these guys and buy us all Jeff Tate tickets. Because he's playing in Homer in October. Yeah. They're sold out.
Oh my god!
I was like, this would be awesome, right? Like, hey guys, great ending
Before
to the
we
show.
go, I got something for you.
Well, it's the thought that counts, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what we can do. We got to get there.
We'll talk about some wrestling next week. And some more music. We're gonna tie it in. We have tons of stuff we wanna talk about coming up, but it's very late right now at night, and we all gotta go to sleepy because we're old, and we gotta do that adulting thing tomorrow. So until then, you're listening. Oh, you're listening to the music you're gonna put in at the end. Yeah. Oh, I hear it now. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm fired anyway, so I don't have to
feel it. Yeah. Stand back. Stand back. All right. Until next time.
You better watch him drop.